Why is he now?
Melissa, can you hear me?
I can't, Nancy. If you could put yourself on mute, and then we'll have Devin help manage the comments. Thank you.
We appreciate your patience as we experiment with this new technology. Nancy, when the meeting starts and when you are prepared to talk, I will sort of serve as a moderator and you can turn on the microphone. Thank you. So just keep hitting mute all as they. I'm going to keep you guys in the front row here. Distanced. We're going to have the board sitting
I can still call on you. After your statement. Oh, yeah. So after. Speaking to you. All right, we all set? All right. All right, you all set.
Hey, good morning. This is a emergency meeting of the Brookline Select Board, March 16, 2020. First order of business is an announcement. And good morning. Statement from the Select Board regarding COVID-19. On behalf of the Select Board, I would like to provide our community with an update on the town of Brookline's response to the global COVID-19 outbreak, which is impacting our lives globally. As our community addresses this unprecedented situation, it is essential that we work collaboratively to commit ourselves to practicing good hygiene and social distancing in order to curb the spread of the virus. This means limiting social gatherings, regardless of size, and remaining home to every extent possible. To that end, the town of Brookline has taken certain steps. Last week, the public schools of Brookline announced that they would close all buildings through the end of this month, and on Governor Baker's order, will now extend that closure until April 8th. While we understand the importance of socialization, especially for children and young people, parents should not make play dates or other group activities for their children while schools are closed. Additionally, all recreational department and council on aging activities and the senior center and library closed until March 27th.
It's on Disney Plus.
The latter is an essential step
Say everyone put yourself on mute.
for most of them are becoming seriously ill due to COVID-19. Yesterday, the town of Brookline further acted to close all town programs
Where am I?
as well as all public buildings, with the exception of the town hall. until further notice. This morning, the town of Brookline activated its emergency operations center.
All residents are asked to seek to
Brookline MA.gov or by phone at 617-730-2000. Anyone who does intend to visit the town hall should call that number prior to arrival. Town of Brookline is committed to mobilizing all the resources at its disposal to protect the health and safety of our residents. It's incumbent on all of us
We can't hear this.
to protect our neighbors by practicing social distancing, washing our hands regularly, covering coughs and sneezes, above all, staying home when you're sick and seeking care from your doctor. It is critically important that we treat this time as the serious public health emergency that it is. And remember that the time away from work or study is in no way similar to a single-day vacation. Right now, we are working to establish a call center that residents may use to ask questions that they have related to COVID-19. When more information about that call center is available, it will be announced. Thank you for your patience and cooperation during this very challenging time. And at this point, I'd like to ask if any members of the COVID-19 task force have anything to add to the statement.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to call on our Director of Public Health, Swanee, for an update. You can sit here.
Good morning, Select Board. Just a brief update. Right now, we have approximately 60 cases that we're tracking. 33 people are quarantined. Some people. Some of the highlights that I want to read that you brought up. At this point, the task force has begun.
Music break. How do the words?
It's a mess.
I heard from this at home. The parks are open for people to walk around, but do not allow people to come to your house. I know that there is information out there, no gathering. There should be gatherings of 2 people or more if it's not needed, and they're not currently in the home with you. You should not leave your home unless your needs are essential items such as groceries, gas, or a prescription. You should get your prescriptions enough to fulfill the next 30 days. Refrain from any travel outside of the state unless it is absolutely necessary for example. If you're at home teleworking, you should be at home teleworking. If continue to practice hygiene, that is the ultimate concern. As this virus continues outside, we need to keep your hygiene. Continue distancing, continue social distancing. And what does social distancing actually mean? That means refraining from groups of people, refraining from a person 6 feet from one another, except unless it's your immediate member in your home. If you go to the park, make sure you refrain from engaging with another person, your immediate family. At this current time, there's a lot of residents calling the school system with positive cases. Those calls at 617-730-2300. The health department is all calls in terms of nothing. If it's general information that you want to know about COVID-19, please call 211. Eventually, in the next day or so, we will have calls for those calls as well. If anybody tests positive, please make sure you inform the local health department so that we can begin to quarantine people and also do the contact tracing of other people that might be. Also, final follow-up. As the bars close, restaurants, etc., we are temporarily suspending all takeout bylaws we have in place. Any questions about that can also be directed to Thank you.
Thank you. And before we go any further, I apologize, I did not announce that one of our board members, Nancy Heller, will be participating by telephone. So she's on the phone now. Pardon? WebEx.
May I, Mr. Chair, ask Town Fire and Emergency Management Director John Sullivan. Thank you, Mr. Secretary, and the board, and then I just wanted to reiterate that we want to make sure that have as much information as they possibly can from the town. And Dr. Jess just mentioned the telephone number for the public health emergencies to go straight to the public health department. He also said, and we will be starting up our call center for any other town-related general questions. We should be able to answer those questions by the end of the day. We also expect that for general COVID-related questions, we will use the state's 211 system, which has a number of folks that are there ready to answer your general questions. Please do not use the 911 center calls. If you have an emergency, as always, please use 911 and we will get help to you. But during this time, we want to ask you to be judicious about using 911 for emergencies only, and our staff will respond. The police department, the fire department are respond to your emergencies and continue to be throughout this crisis. And we want to make sure that everybody understands that we're fully staffed and we're fully ready to go. If you are in the emergency, please feel free to use 911 as always. But the general question, we give you more information every day through our various media and outlets to answer your questions via the telephone numbers. So thank you very much, and please, the chairperson mentioned earlier, please take your precautions for yourself and make sure that you're doing the right thing for your family on a consistent basis so that we can all get through the crisis in a very short period of time.
Thank you, Chief Health.
We're having a lot of technical difficulties, so if we have an and please mute. I think that's a difficulty that you're hearing a lot of background noise.
Okay, any other presentations? Go on to the next item on our agenda. Question of enacting a public health emergency. Who's gonna?
Well, you have received a proposed vote. Our town council is here if you need questions about that, but we believe that it's appropriate and within the board's jurisdiction along with the Board of Health to enact this public health emergency, help us, first of all, communicate the importance and seriousness of this matter, but also provide the town with some other responsibilities and authority to enact other emergency measures as necessary.
Any questions?
I would encourage you to read through it, Mr. Chair.
You want to read it first and then
Yeah, I would read it out.
Okay, sorry. Declaration of emergency. Whereas the 2019 novel coronavirus, COVID-19. Sorry, let me start over again. Not novel as in book. Whereas the 2019 novel coronavirus, COVID-19, has been declared a public health emergency of international concern by the World Health Organization. And whereas COVID-19 is a highly contagious, in some cases, fatal respiratory disease.
We're already at 150.
And whereas on March 10, 2020, the governor of Massachusetts declared a state of emergency to respond to COVID-19 and has determined that the immediate action needed to prevent, minimize, or mitigate damage to public health, safety, or general welfare of people of the Commonwealth and or property, which may otherwise result from the above described emergency, And whereas, as of March 16, 2020, there are a number of presumed positive cases of COVID-19 afflicting residents of the town of Brookline. And whereas ongoing transmission of COVID-19 can be expected to greatly impact the health and welfare of residents and employees of the town of Brookline. Now, therefore, we, the town of Brookline Select Board, Director of Health and Human Services, pursuant to our powers under Chapter 639 of the Acts of 1950, the Civil Defense Act, Chapter 111 of the Massachusetts General Laws and the regulations promulgated thereunder, Section 3.1.2 of the Town of Brookline General Bylaws, and all other applicable laws and regulations, issued this declaration of emergency in the town of Brookline. And further, pursuant to Section 13 of the Civil Defense Act, hereby appoint the Select Board and Director of Health and Human Services, town of Brookline, a local civil defense organization. This declaration of the state of emergency in the town of Brookline is effective immediately and shall remain in effect until notice is given by the Select Board and Director of Health and Human Services that the state of emergency no longer. So, discussion, questions? Council.
Thank you, Chair, members of the Select Board, Jocelyn Murphy, Town Council. There are a couple of corrections that need to be stated. First of all, in fourth whereas clause, it should read there are a number of presumed positive cases. So please strike there are a number of positive cases. Place it with for a number of presumed positive COVID-19 residents. My second comment relates to the now therefore clause, which permits the Select Board to appoint a local civil defense organization. I suspect this board will want to deliberate the membership in that organization for purposes of discussion. I simply the Select Board and Director of Health and Human Services. So I just want to point that out as we proceed with this.
Is that required to be done today, or can we do that after we've had a chance?
You can certainly do it tomorrow. I understand you're meeting again tomorrow, so if you'd like, I can excise Carl excise in advance of your vote.
What do people think?
Will we have the option to add members to this later on?
Certainly.
Okay. So what?
In view of the fact that this isn't necessary for declaring an emergency, so if you prefer to deliberate the local organization tomorrow, that's fine.
I think it'd probably be good to put in here or add something to the effect of
additional individuals.
As may be voted.
Do you want to explain to us what exactly the civil defense?
So the question.
And also it's related to that, but make sure you cover what additional powers the
So the question that was posed by Dr. Tett, and the chair of the board, is what powers a local civil defense organization has. These powers are found in section 13 of the Massachusetts Civil Defense Act of 1950, which permits the organization to enter into contracts, incur obligations, combat disaster, that protect the health and safety of persons and property, and provide emergency assistance to victims of disaster. So those are largely the powers. There are others that are set forth in the section, but they really just enhance the powers that exist.
That's important for the public, but board members have a copy of it.
I know what we have to do.
Okay.
This time. You should put a pause on the meeting.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
I'll make that change.
Okay. So,
Thank you. So are you, you propose this can vote?
I would like to, we can make further edits tomorrow.
but I agree. Ms. Heller?
Oh, I gotta find her.
Okay.
Nancy,
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Nancy, if you could turn on your microphone.
I do. It's on.
Everybody else, please mute.
My microphone is on, Devin. Can you hear me? According to my screen, my microphone is on. Can you hear me?
Nancy, we can hear you now.
Okay, good. I vote aye.
Nancy votes aye.
So, you haven't voted yet, Nancy.
Oh.
Let me move. Let me just say that I think it's important to do this quickly, even though we may not be implementing good aspects of this immediately, but it's good to get this up and running and get us familiar with processes that are involved. And even one day could make a difference in terms of our being able to effectively operate under this change. So I move approval of the declaration of public health emergency in the town of Brookline. All in favor, Ms. Heller?
You come back to her.
Ms.
Sorry, I
Franco?
got muted. Aye.
Tony?
Aye.
Ms. Fernandez? And I heard Ms. Heller say aye, and chair votes aye.
Thank you. Could I ask the board to just discuss just briefly, I want to make sure that if there, I understand there may be some technical problems with WebEx. Can you just recess momentarily, don't leave your spaces, but see if there's something we can do. If not, it's being broadcast over the access channel.
Everyone needs to pull the microphone closer and introduce themselves every time they speak. And for everyone listening at home, thank you so much for your engagement. We're going to ask that the minute you log on, do not turn on your microphone. That is part of the problem and one of the reasons that it's difficult to hear over WebEx. We also want to make you aware that you can log on to YouTube and watch the live streaming via Brookline Interactive Group or watch on TV. Thanks so much for holding tight, everyone. We're going to have the board clearly identify themselves, and we're going to put the link to the YouTube video in the chat so you can all access that as well.
Amen.
Well, I'm hearing that the setting that can prevent the clicking, the noise.
We've already done it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Note yourself on this.
So, I'm Bernard Green, and with me, who will also, may speak, is, Franco, Ms. Hamilton, Mr. Fernandez, and on the phone is, Ms. Heller. So, next item on our agenda, question of implementing limitations on food service establishments. So,
Mr. Chair, as you may know, the governor yesterday issued an executive order which effective this evening at 12 a.m., or actually for tomorrow, at 2 a.m., a requirement or a prohibition on any in-service eating at our food and beverage establishments throughout the state. So that means no one can order food and sit in the establishment eating. We can and want to allow takeout or delivery services only. Now, these are all licensed establishments at Brookline under your jurisdiction, and if you wanted to expedite that order, you certainly could under your authority. Again, the governor's limitation starts at 12 midnight this evening. I believe that his order is consistent with what we want to do. It's just really the timing of implementation.
one thing we could do in light of the fact that it's having 12 a.m. Deadline, the bar is going to be packed before then. We may want to bring that up to maybe 5 o'clock implementation here in Brookline. I think that probably makes better sense.
This is Heather Hamilton. I'm just worried about the notification.
That is an issue. Not agreeing with it. Wagner, how would we handle notification, and do we have enough time to do it by p.m.?
Well, we would make it a priority if this board wanted to do so.
We've already been in contact with them.
Yeah, we have been in contact with this community. We would make an exerted effort to get the word out, and quite honestly, I'm not sure even tomorrow everybody's going to be fully informed. But if you wanted to do so, I really would make an effort to announce that to our establishments as best we could.
So this is Ben Franco. I think we need to, at the perfect beginning, we can close even a small percentage of the restaurant. That's better than throwing up our hands and saying we're not going to be able to get everybody notified. So I'm fully in support of a 5 o'clock implementation of that order from the government.
Any other comments?
I agree with what Ben said. I'd love for us to move faster than the government actually asked us to move. I think you're right. This is relevant, by the way. I think you're right in that if we leave everything open tonight, it's going to be more less for many people, and that's not what we want. We need to close sooner.
I fully, and this is Heather Hamilton, I fully support that. We also got a letter from the Brookline Chamber of Commerce yesterday asking for 1 or 2 parking spaces on every block to be dedicated for pickup or delivery purposes. I just want to check in and we fold that into this separately. How are we handling that request?
I think that's really a question of police enforcement of parking laws. Taking into consideration the usual situation that we're facing. But maybe that this is Bernard Green. Maybe that's a question for Chief Lipson.
Andy Lipson, Chief of Police. I think that we would have to coordinate with the DPW and the Transportation Department to post those areas. The enforcement part on our side is easy, but getting everything posted by the DPW would be the most time consuming.
This is Mel Blackner. I saw that communication last night. I thought it was a great idea, and I'll work to make it happen.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments?
You're going to take, Mr. Chair, you're going to take a vote on this.
Yes.
Position.
Any other questions, Ms. Heller? No? Okay, I move the implementation of limitations on food service establishments. Manner posed by the government with the exception or with the following change that they will go into effect at 5 p.m. today, Monday, March 16, 2020. All in favor, Mr. Teller?
Aye.
Mr. Franco?
Aye.
Ms. Hamilton?
Aye.
Fernandez?
Aye.
Ms.
Did you
Heller?
hear me, Bernard?
Okay, chair votes aye, that's okay. I understand that she.
Did you hear my vote? Is aye?
Ms. Heller?
I voted aye.
Next, question of proof of imposing a limitation on queues into commercial establishments.
Sure, just let me, Secretary Administrator, so, as you know, I think everybody knows, our, food and other provisions, in anticipation of a long period, social distancing, and, we have experienced over the weekend, not just in Brookline, but I think everybody's seen, long queues of people inside and outside of stores or other establishments. The governor's executive order from yesterday also imposes a 25-person maximum, which we believe is reasonable. And again, I think the question for the board today is whether you want to expedite that limitation beginning today, because the governor's announced the order takes effect at midnight tonight. I will say that probably the largest line I've seen is at the medical adult use marijuana store at Neta in Brookline Village, and I'm announcing that Neta has voluntarily agreed to limit their sales to medical only, effective today, and would also require people who want to acquire medical marijuana to do so by reserve ahead application. So I believe the issue, at least at Neta, will be abated at beginning today. I'm not really sure what the status is at other establishments, whether they be grocery stores or pharmacies. But again, this is really an opportunity for the board to enact those limitations on the assembly of more than 25 effective issue feel appropriate.
We're talking about the experience, certain bagel shops, food, grocery stores, pharmacies. We want to accelerate that, like the restaurants and bars.
Yes, I'd like to accelerate it to today. At least 5 o'clock. I'd be open to doing it earlier. Other board members think there's wisdom.
This is Raul Fernandez. One of the things that I heard loud and clear from our public health director, Dr. Jett, earlier, is that 25 is not going to cut it. And I'm wondering if we want right now, we can vote to impose what the governor has said will be imposed tomorrow today. I think we can also consider lowering that number here in Brookline.
Dr. Jett.
Dr. Swanee Jett, Health Commissioner, I would reduce that down to 10, and I would allow the business to determine how they're going to manage that. 25 is too many people. So if we're going to do it today, 5 o'clock, I will make sure we get the notifications out to everyone, including the restaurants, and provide the permits. Thank you.
This is Heather Hamilton. I would also like to do like a 3 or 4 best practices for these businesses, some general guidance on how to space a line or what this means to them.
And I'd like Bernard Green. I'd like to also ask whether, I assume it doesn't mean 10 people within a store, it's 10 people in a line.
Correct. That is just 10 people within the line. And I would ensure our environmental department educate those businesses at proper spacing and how they can make to function.
Any other discussion?
Can I comment here?
Yeah, another thing that we could recommend businesses do is I recommend people do is to actually order ahead. If they're going to pick up a bagel, order it ahead and then pick it up well after the time, which it would be ready, so that they don't have to wait in a line at all. Just go.
Excuse me, Bernard, can you hear me?
In favor of lowering the number from 5 to 10, as Dr. Jett suggested.
Can you hear me?
Nancy, we can hear you.
Okay.
Hold on.
All right, thank you. So I just wanted to comment that, while I'm happy that we would reduce, we could vote to reduce the congregants to 10, I still am wondering whether that's sufficient. It seems that the idea that we practice social distancing means that we practice it from everyone. So if you're in a room with 10 people, it's hard to be 6 feet apart, while maintaining the distance. So I would prefer that we not have gatherings at all. I think that closing bars and restaurants is a good step. I think lines outside, who is going to enforce that? We need to make sure that the businesses themselves know, and especially for the grocery stores. We obviously can't close those, but people have to stay 6 feet apart. And that needs to be our message.
I mean, this is Mel Becker. I was listening, and it's hard to hear, but I believe that Ms. Miller is even concerned with 10 and really encourages any assembly to be using distancing practices. But I'm not sure how to address that. I think practically speaking, I don't know how.
Well, we would urge establishment, this is Bernard Green, we would urge establishment to set up some mechanism for people based properly. This is not going to be a perfect solution, or this is not a perfect solution to this problem. But we're trying to best and given the unique and very, very difficult situation.
I think we can probably revisit 0 people waiting in line in about a week. I think there needs to be some sort of adjustment where people get the message that they need to start calling ahead.
This is Ben Franco. I just want to clarify, are we talking about pharmacies and grocery stores for this to apply to as well, or is this just food establishments?
I believe the governor's order exempts those establishments. So we are going to expand it, just be aware of that.
I think it would be unwise at this point to include places like Stop and Shop and Trader Joe's at this time where people still need to get supplies. We're going to end up with is lines way outside, 100 people waiting to get in.
Thanks, Raul. I agree with that sentiment. I would expect that pharmacies and grocery stores would do their best to try and maintain distance between folks when in line. But I think you're absolutely right that there's going to be a lot of people who go to grocery stores and pharmacies, rightfully so, but we need to try and maintain social distancing and proper buffer between each other to the extent possible.
Okay, so the two things that we have to vote to take the main vote. Number one, this is Bernard Green again. Number of people that we are going to limit queues to. Governor's number is 25, and Dr. Jett has proposed 10. And secondly, at what time, presumably this evening, this limitation will go into effect. First of all, I move that we the number of people allowed in queues be set at 10. Any question or? So moved, Mr. Franco?
Aye.
Ms. Heller?
Aye.
Ms. Hamilton?
Aye.
Fernandez? Aye. Chair votes aye. Secondly, a question of whether we start this at midnight as proposed by the governor or at an earlier time.
Let's say 5 p.m. to maintain consistency with our earlier.
Do you want to tell this protocol or we have sacral ilitis or?
So I move that we set the time for imposing the limitation on queues in commercial establishments at 5 p.m. today. Again, we'll have to make sure we get out notifications so that this is as successful as possible, recognizing that it won't be a perfect rollout. All in favor, Mr. Heller?
Aye, can you hear me?
Aye.
Yes.
Mr. Franco?
Aye.
Ms. Hamilton?
Aye.
Mr. Fernandez?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Other business?
Mr. Chair, this is Mel Beckner, Town Administrator. I just want to remind you and the community that this board is meeting again twice tomorrow afternoon. The first at 5, in which is intended to have more of a town hall type of forum where we would allow questions and comments to be provided by the public. We obviously have some work to do to enhance this technology, and we'll be working on that until tomorrow. But that's at 5. And then at 6:30, this board will have a business meeting, a normal business meeting, where you will deal with some other essential business of the town, including but not limited to considering we're going to deal with our upcoming scheduled annual election town meeting. I know the town moderator will be participating in that conversation along with the assistant town clerk. Other than that, I don't have anything else to report.
Can you just let people know that a recording of this and notes will be sent out town-wide?
So we know that this is Ben Franco, we know there's been some difficulty in participating in hearing the proceedings on the WebEx system. We're going to send out notes and a video at this meeting, keep everybody informed. I'll also note that I just got a text from the Economic Development Coordinator who says that her department is looking into financial assistance for businesses, and the details of that assistance will be announced as it becomes available. But we understand that the actions this board took, which were necessary, are going to have an impact on our local businesses, and we're going to do what we can to support them and provide assistance where and how we can.
This is Raul Fernandez. I wanted to add to that that our Small Business Development Committee will be hosting a virtual town hall for Brookline small business community this Thursday from 9 to 10. Details are forthcoming. We'll send an announcement, post it online, and share it widely. And we look forward to engaging with the small business owners and others who are interested and concerned about the health and well-being of our business community.
There are a number of initiatives that the town meeting members are gearing up on the various Google groups to try to coordinate resources when it comes to childcare, food delivery for people who cannot afford to take them all the time. So if you have any questions, you can contact any member of this board and try to point you in the correct direction.
Yeah, I'd like to add to that. I got a notice last night regarding an initiative by Grubhub, one of the delivery services, making accommodations for their restaurant clients, suspending their commissions. Now, I don't know the details of this, but it's an example of the type of active action that I urge other businesses to take, other services to take, and also as an individual board member, and I'm sure the rest of the board would agree with me, I really urge business owners, small business owners, to the extent possible, to maintain the income particularly the health insurance of their employees. It will be a difficult time of, being big financial hits. But to the extent possible, let's try to keep people from falling into even worse situations of lack of money or lack of health care. And with respect to large businesses, we have a lot of them in our community. I urge you to make sure that your employees' incomes are maintained and reach out and support those small businesses in one way or another so that they can do more for their employees. And of course, at this time of crisis, it's particularly important for everyone to reach into their pockets and give support to our social service organizations and charitable organizations around town, being aware that in times of crisis, scams pop up. So you have to be careful where you send your money. We have the Brookline Community Foundation and others that mobilize support for people in the community. I encourage you to support them and others in this time of crisis.
I have one other announcement, Mr. Chair. This is Nell Becker, Town Administrator. I want to assure you and the public that the town continues to provide essential services. Of course, public safety is health and safety is tops, and people should call 911 if they have an emergency. Other agencies of the town are working hard to figure how to provide essential services, either remotely or in person in some cases. I know the school department is working hard to announce a delivery of food for the individuals in their school system that they normally provide for during the day. And an announcement, I understand, is forthcoming on that, along with a lot of other things. So bear with us, but I want to assure you and the public that we're very focused on providing public services in a different way and also preparing for the situation where our staffs might become ill and unable to respond to work. Thank you.
Any other?
I'll just say I know the entire board joins me in Mrs. Burrell in thanking the staff who I know have been working day and night through the weekend, nonstop since this began. We're lucky to have you. I know that your job is not easy, and that as a full leadership, this board included, won't always make 100 decisions, and a couple of them we might regret, but or that we'll do something and not as quickly as people would hope. But that what I have seen since we've been involved is a lot of great public servants that are working very hard to try to get it right. And I look forward to working with you all and supporting you throughout this process. But just want to say thanks for all of you day and night right now, and not just the folks that people see, like the department heads and our chiefs and others, but also all those sort of down the line with workers in Brookline that are doing it every day. So just thank you.
Thank you.
Can I add one thing?
Board agrees.
Nancy's.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, Nancy, we can hear you.
Okay, I thought it might be useful if we could say, I know we're working on plans to make sure that the number of people in line is reduced. But I think it's important to let people know that we're contacting the businesses to make sure that they understand the rules, ask for their cooperation, and also have the police do some sort of patrolling to make sure that those places that we know of with lines like Trader Joe's and Stop and Shop and Netta are aware of the situation and are doing what they can to make sure that there are not more than 10 people and that they keep 6 feet apart.
Clark, your town administrator, I was listening to Ms. Howard, and she just wants to emphasize the town making the community and the establishments aware of this 10 person limitation of assemblage lines on establishments, and encourages police and other departments of the town to help communicate and enforce that limitation.
Okay. Again, I want to thank Mr. Fernandez for thanking the town staff. And I second that just note that we've always known that town staff were hardworking, committed individuals. In a crisis like this, it shows that commitment is deep and that the skill level is also very, very small. So thank you, and we should be thankful for all that they do running, both during normal times as well as in crisis. So, that being said, unless anyone else has any questions, I join